Our mode of Guru Bhakti, and I said this is taken from the disciple course. If you haven't had the opportunity to attend the disciple course, then I recommend it to you if you get a chance. Please do go here. This is from the Unit 4, which comes almost at the end. This is like the final part of the disciple course, and it's important for us to understand about how to present the Guru, how to present the spiritual master. Sometimes, as devotees, we're very enthusiastic and we want to really promote our Guru. And we have to be a little careful how we do it, that we don't offend people. Because in ISKCON, remember, our society, it's a big society, and it's not one guru, but there are many gurus. So within ISKCON, we have to be a little careful how we present our guru. And we don't want to make any conflicts or to divide the movement. So the first point is to understand the importance that in presenting the spiritual master, we want to present Srila Prabhupada. That Srila Prabhupada is actually the common spiritual master for all of us. And there's an ISKCON law here stating, ISKCON devotees shall instruct new members to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and to receive guidance, training and assistance from those who are practically and directly instructing them in Krishna consciousness. So new people coming to the Krishna consciousness movement, they often say, I want a guru. They just walk in the door, and they say, I'm looking for a guru. I think I need a guru. Can you help me? Can I get a guru here? So, we should the first thing they should do, they should be introduced to Srila Prabhupada. That we introduce Srila Prabhupada, that he is the founder of the Krishna consciousness movement, and he is the spiritual master for all the devotees, right? And we want devotees to appreciate that, new people, yeah?
Can you turn the microphone on?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. I wondered what was wrong. Okay, so we encourage people in the beginning, come to Srila Prabhupada, take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya. We're reading his books. Every temple, we're reading his books. We're doing his Guru Puja. We're following his program. It's his institution. So we all have a very strong connection with Srila Prabhupada. And then we also add to them, ISKCON members shall choose when and from whom they wish to request initiation. They must focus their attention on Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya and as their preeminent Shiksha Guru. So Prabhupada, although he's the founder Acharya, he cannot give initiation because Srila Prabhupada has already departed from the world. But his books are there to guide us, and he's giving us instruction, but he's not going to give us initiation. So when it comes to initiation, then devotees can choose who they would like to be initiated by, and they can also decide when they would like to be initiated.
What does it mean by the preeminent Shiksha Guru?
It means the most prominent of all the Shiksha Gurus, the one who is really central among all the Gurus, in the supreme position. So they should focus their attention on Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhu?
ISKCON members shall choose when, so that when suppose a particular devotee has joined the movement in a particular center. It's been about 11 years he has been chosen a guru still. He is then dedicated to Prabhupada, his teaching, his books, everything. He is not informed someone. It's 11 years now. A case like that. So it's fine. And how does it fit in?
Well, Some people are like that. They're just not able to commit themselves to a spiritual master. And so they... Huh? Yeah, Prabhupada's fine, but Prabhupada's not going to give you initiation. An initiation is one part of devotional service. You've studied the Nectar of Devotion, and we saw in the Nectar of Devotion there were different items of Bhakti Yoga. One of them was taking shelter of a spiritual master and accepting initiation. So if we haven't taken initiation after a certain point, we should really be thinking about it, that actually I should be coming to the point of taking an initiation, that this is something lacking.
That's how one is educated.
Yeah. But at the same time, nobody's going to come and force. Look, come on, you've been here 11 years, you've got to get initiated. Come on, come now, sit down, I'll give you initiation. Shouldn't be like that, It's, okay, you should think, we can tell the person, you should really decide who is actually somebody you can commit yourself to, who are you willing. And at the same time also remember that even though you may not have a very strong faith in that person as your guru, but he can help you come to Prabhupada. And it is part of the process of Bhakti Yoga. So they may have more faith in Prabhupada, or they may have even more faith in the Shiksha Gurus than in other people, but they take initiation from somebody else. It's not a problem. Even though they've taken initiation from someone, doesn't mean that they have to completely surrender to that person. But they're part of the ISKCON society. Initiation is one of the parts of devotional service. We're supposed to do it. Because without initiation, you never committed yourself, so you don't need to chant. You don't need to follow 4 principles. Nobody's checking up on you. That tendency is there. So we do try to encourage people that they should think about taking initiation. At the same time, there's an interesting verse here which was brought to our attention by Sanatana Goswami, and as we said, Nana Shastra Vicharinai Kanipano. Sanatana Goswami in his Hari Bhakti Vilas, he has written there this verse: one should hide one's Istadeva, one should hide one's Guru, one should hide one's mantra, and one should hide one's Japamala. Why? The point is, we don't want to just make a show that this is my Guru. We don't want to be doing a publicity campaign to show people I'm a great devotee, I've got a Guru. I'm a great devotee, this is my Japamala. You see, I've got these beads, I've got this big mala. You see, I'm a big devotee. Is that important thing? Showing your beads to people? What's important? Chanting is the important thing. It's not just having the beads and making a show of the beads. It's not just having a deity. Oh, this is my deity, I have all these deities. Some people, they collect deities, they have so many deities. They never offer arti. They just keep all the deities. They have all the deities there. Never do the puja. What is the meaning? They want to make I've got all these deities. And similarly, the same thing is there. We take a guru. My guru. My guru. The guru. And we try to promote. This is my guru. And we want... So Sanatana Goswami warns us that, what is important is following the instructions of the Guru rather than promoting the Guru, building a big name, a big image for the Guru. What is important is to follow the instructions of the Guru.
What means to hide in mantra? What means to hide mantra?
Hide the mantra? Well, again, the same thing, that we sometimes we make a show of being religious. You know, I'm such a religious person, I chant this mantra and tell everyone, but we don't have the real devotion or the real commitment to chanting the mantra. We just want to make a show. We're promoting our own self rather than actually presenting the glories of the holy name. The motivation is the point. That if our motivation is just to show ourselves as being very pious and very religious, and if the motivation is not to actually impress people on the power of the holy name, then that's wrong. Yeah, I mean, we do want to give the holy name to people. We do try to spread the chanting of the holy name. But we have to do it. Purity is the force. We have to have the right motivation. We shouldn't be thinking that we're better than others because we're chanting the holy name. We have to appreciate other people's position. So this is the verse here which is given to us. We want to understand this properly. For example, there's another quote actually. It comes from one of Lord Chaitanya's associates. Even in the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many people would say, I am Gauras, I am Gauras. But they didn't follow the teaching of Gaur. They would talk, I am Gauras, I am Krishna, I am his, but they never follow. They don't commit themselves, they don't surrender, they don't follow the teachings. So just to give that kind of service with the lips, that is meaningless, and without actually following. So what we do actually, we ask devotees to make a skit demonstrating some inappropriate ways of presenting present ISKCON gurus. Maybe you can think of some just now. What would be some inappropriate way of presenting Guru?
There is no other Guru and the Guru.
There is no?
Just say, for example, that the only Gurus is the Gurus in ISKCON or something, taking them like they are higher than everybody else.
Yeah. Well, or we may say, my Guru is the highest.
Not putting the picture of Prabhupada on a banner and putting the picture of the Guru. Yeah,
generally we like to promote Prabhupada as the founder Acharya. When generally, of course, if there's some program, then maybe some special program, special preaching program. At that time, we can put the Guru's picture there. You have to consider the circumstances. Yeah? Yes, Prabhu?
Being on Sankirtan and distributing your Guru's books.
Yeah, we may go on Sankirtan and we may distribute our Gurus. We may think my Guru's books are more important than Prabhupada's books. Well, we can distribute the Guru's books, but we shouldn't forget Prabhupada's books. And generally, when we go on Sankirtan, we like to present Prabhupada's books. I know some people do tell me, they say they feel their Guru's books are very good and they're very helpful for new people and so on. But at the same time, we have to be a little sensitive that, we have a society and we don't want to just separate one spiritual master from the other devotees. If we have a temple where people are initiated by different spiritual masters, then you may find that if they're distributing your Guru's books, then the other devotees, they will think, why distribute your Guru's books? Well, I'm going to distribute my Guru's books. And then the whole thing will become divided, and there will be competition, and which will create a lot of bad feelings between devotees. And it's important for us to be united. We give the example that one stick can be easily broken, but many sticks together is very strong, not so easily broken. So we do want to be sensitive about these issues in presenting Guru Bhakti.
Sometimes I've noticed lately for myself, when I meet a new devotee, a new person, devotee is a we talk, and within like 1 or 2 minutes, they ask me, and who's your guru? And I noticed that I don't really like that. It's, maybe I have my personal reasons, but you don't know the person, and then you have to go, well, who's your guru? But let's get to know each other because of all these things, my guru, your guru, this and that.
Yeah, it can become a problem. As you say, my guru, your guru, yeah, in this way we become a bit disunited. We do want to think about keeping the movement united as one family. One time I was in one place and the devotees were telling me, we want to make a family with our guru. But I said, we already have a family. We already have Prabhupada, the head of the family. I said, why you want to make another family within the family? Huh?
Also another thing is, at least for myself, lately I've been understanding what a little more about actually Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru is actually on an equal level.
Oh yeah.
So I have many gurus.
Yeah, this is one thing which comes in the disciple course, that Shiksha, Diksha Gurus, we should see them equally. Yeah. So we just wanted to point out here about the importance of how to properly present our spiritual teacher. We don't want to make, we do have that tendency to think my guru is the best. We want to promote one guru over the others. But we should be respectful, and we should try to appreciate other disciples, spiritual teachers, see them in an equal manner.
Just a different question. Sometimes you want to ask your Diksha Guru a question, and then sometimes you feel like asking a Shiksha Guru a question. Why does that come? Why does that happen?
Well, I don't know. In time
Is that wrong?
No, I mean the same. You can ask. It should get the same answer, really. Whether you ask Shiksha or Diksha Guru, it should come to the same thing. Should get the answer that should be pretty much the same according to Shastra. But it may be time and circumstances. You may not be able to get the opportunity to ask your Diksha Guru. And so, like he's often traveling other parts of the world, so you have to take advantage of who's available. Yeah, we need shelter, we need guidance. So we have to be able to hear. So you go to the Shiksha Guru and you can immediately get an answer. But you may have to wait months before you meet your Diksha Guru. Maybe you don't have that time to wait. You need to get an answer quick. Prabhu?
Hi, I've noticed in Mayapur that when some devotees are giving class, they recite their own Guru Pranam, and not everyone can chant along, because they don't either know them or obviously they're not familiar with that Guru. Could you just comment on that, about the appropriateness of that?
I've noticed this. I never really thought about it, but it just seems to be the standard protocol when ISKCON that different people giving class will recite pranam mantras to their guru. No, I found it helpful, at least so I know who the guru is. They're a disciple of that person. I don't really mind. I think it's okay. In some way, it's just a way of identifying themselves before giving class. Of course, ultimately it's all coming from Prabhupada. And we see their guru also in relation to Prabhupada. That they recite their guru's pranam mantra, but we know that their guru is also connected to Prabhupada. He's a follower of Prabhupada. So it comes to the same thing. And it's pointed out that when you recite pranam mantra to your guru, you should also recite Prabhupada's pranam mantra. It's not that you just recite the mantra to your guru, but part of the pranam mantra to the guru is also offering obeisances to Prabhupada. We should recite at least the first prayer, the Namo Vishnu Padaya part to Prabhupada. That's part of our guru pranam mantra. And so if we're not saying that, then their pranam mantra is incomplete.
I used to offer in the altar, sometimes the put your Guru's picture, offer prayer to Krishna. Is it right?
Guru's picture?
You put your Guru's picture first on the altar when you offer to Krishna. Is it right?
Well, what they're recommending nowadays is that we put it on the tray at the side. On a tray at the side of the altar. And we put the Guru's picture. And after Aarti, then we take the picture away. Yeah. They prefer us just to keep the picture on the side.
But that's not uniformly followed. Someone doesn't.
Well, it takes time to implement these things. Yeah. It's in recent years only with.
Keep it on the tray. That's done.
Yeah.
Some keep it on the tray. Some don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So they may put it on the altar. You mean? So after the Aarti, they have to take it off. Yeah, I mean, these are recent things which we've really understood only in the course of time, so it takes some time to implement these things, but gradually it's happening.
Maharaj, I have seen that there are people who are attending their Guru Maharaj, Mangalarti and class. They are regular. This is a good point. But when it comes to other speakers, they are reluctant to attend.
Oh,
Sometimes, not everything.
well, this should be pointed out. They should be encouraged to come. You're saying they only come when their guru.
They are either when their Guru Maharaj is giving class or.
And other times they won't come.
They are coming either reluctant to.
Now this is not good.
Not that deep.
Yeah, we need to try to encourage devotees, not to develop that kind of attitude. Yeah, their spiritual master comes, and then so many people are there, and they all want to cook. And when the guru goes, then nobody wants to cook. And yeah, these things are common. So it shouldn't be like this. We have to point out that this is not right. Motivation has to be pure. So we're trying to encourage the disciples to come up to a higher standard. That's why we have this disciple course, to make people aware of these things, that these things are going on and they're not right. It's not correct. Okay, so another point here, presenting ISKCON gurus. Disciples of ISKCON Diksha and Shiksha gurus should not wear or publicly display guru t-shirts, posters, bead bags. So, these things were done in the past. Now it's all stopped. ISKCON temple residents may keep photographs of Diksha and Shiksha gurus privately in their ashram, but they're not to display them publicly on ISKCON premises. Promoting occasional special preaching events may be an exception. There will be exceptions. We should be tolerant. We should understand there may be special programs, and you would want to show the picture, present the name, who is the person. Yeah, we shouldn't be impersonal. So the main point is, don't advertise, but follow. It is not enough to repeatedly advertise that one is a devotee of Mahaprabhu by saying, I am Gauras, I am Gauras. Rather, those who follow the practices taught by Mahaprabhu are understood to get the results of being the Lord's followers. Okay? Okay, so that was just about that section of promoting how to present, how to show Guru Bhakti. Okay, so we were talking about the 4 defects. These things are there. We showed some examples. We speak about Guru Bhakti in public forums. Generally, we don't want to promote just the Guru, but we want to promote the principles of the spiritual teacher. We want to speak about what is the actual role of the spiritual teacher and what are the standards. People often don't know. They want a guru, but they don't know the qualifications of a guru. So these things have to be expressed more in public forums rather than just speaking about persons. Okay, we're not going to do the mimes showing examples of the 4 defects. Some of you have some experience. Maybe you could give me some examples of your own experience, or maybe you or some other person you know, somebody making mistake. Have you got some example? You can think of anything? You made a mistake? Yeah?
I know Prabhupada gives this example, and I thought it didn't really make sense until it happened to me. Like, I thought a rope was a snake, and I remember jumping. I remember jumping, like I was so scared, and it was just a rope.
Okay, yeah. You mistake a rope for a snake. Any other example? Made a mistake?
I was in some office sometime, and there was a writing on a poster or something, and it said to err is human. That's why there's an eraser at the end of the pencil. I thought that was nice.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Prabhu?
I was going to the Ganga, and the rickshaw man said, come, enter the rickshaw. I thought it's free. Century piece. I said, I thought this way.
You made a mistake, eh? Okay, illusion. Some illusion. Give an example. Some common. You saw somebody, they're really illusioned. What's the common thing? A big illusion? Yeah?
In the dream, I expect the tiger in the dream.
In the dream, tiger is coming to eat you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other illusion? We're in illusion. We dream we're very rich. We think I'm the richest person in the world, or I'm the most lucky person in the world. There's no one more lucky than me. We have these kind of illusions. We're in illusion. I'm chanting very nicely today. My chanting is very, this is illusion. And imperfect senses. Imperfect senses. You want to swim across the Ganga, you think you're a strong swimmer. And you get to the middle of the Ganga and you're exhausted, you can't swim anymore. I didn't realize it was so far. You make a mistake. Yes? Yeah, wearing spectacles. Huh? Imperfect senses. You need glasses to see, yeah. We need, if we don't have our spectacles, can't see anything, can't see so well. Imperfect senses. Many things. Particularly.
So for example, without the light you cannot see anything.
In the dark, cannot see anything. Good, yeah.
You know that there may be some Wi-Fi waves, we cannot see them.
You cannot see. Okay. A propensity to cheat or be cheated. Have you ever been cheated?
Yeah.
You want to tell us?
Rickshaw drivers.
The rickshaw driver cheat you, yeah? Yeah? Any other? Cheat? You got cheated?
Well, in the introduction class, the Prabhupada writes that he said, even though we understand that we have imperfect senses, that we're human and that we are in delusion, still we want to teach and present things with the cheating.
Yeah. It's a cheating process. Yeah, in Kali Yuga it's so common. Cheaters. You go to the cheater, he'll tell you you can become God, right? Just pay the money. Yeah, just pay the money, you become God. So this is a very common cheating thing. You can levitate. They'll give you the mantra, you can fly, right? They do that thing, the Maharishis people, they were doing that thing. Levitation. They'll give you the mantra, you can fly. Do we see anybody flying? Do we see people flying? Nobody flying. Oh. It's all cheating.
Stealing something is also like cheating, right?
Stealing. Oh, stealing. Yeah, well, yeah, that's also, cheating. Yeah. Taking what is not actually ours. Okay, so, like that, anyway, these 4 defects are there. So, what is the conclusion? With all these deficiencies, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone, nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are. Well, how do we know the Vedas is perfect? You know, everybody else cheated. If everything else was cheating, why should we accept the Vedas? Aparusha. Aparusha. The Vedas are coming from? They're not coming from a person. Persons are all making mistakes. They're all Purushas. But Aparusha, the Vedas are coming from a higher, another source, not from some conditioned soul. So without defect. So therefore we accept the Vedas as they are. Perfect knowledge. Did we find any mistake? Prabhupada often said, the Bhagavad Gita, the same message, not changed in time. Everything else is changing. The scientists, they change, right? What were some examples? The scientists cheating, covering up.
Darwin's theory.
Darwin's theory. Yeah, the theory. There's no proof. Only words, only theory. Do we see any monkeys changing to become people? We don't see. And then there was a famous case in England. They had a thing called the Piltdown Man. The Piltdown Man. They found some skull of some person, and they said this is a missing link in the evolution of mankind, how man has evolved from the apes. And they discovered this, and then 50 years later, they discovered that this skull had been filed and had been changed by people, that it wasn't actually genuine. It was all a fake. And they had to rewrite the whole history book. They had to change the whole thing. And so, many examples are like that. Scientists cover up, they change everything just to suit their theories. But the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the same words spoken to the sun god millions of years ago, were spoken 5,000 years ago at Kurukshetra, and the same words are valid today. Is there any defect in the Bhagavad Gita? No, everything is there. Everything is the same. Perfect knowledge. So this is why we accept the Vedas. So the Upanishads. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. Veda is bringing us up. People are coming out of sense gratification. They're coming to something higher. So for this purpose, the Vedas are there. The Vedas are offering fruitive results. You can enjoy the heavenly planets. We read, you've studied in Bhagavad Gita different kinds of activities. There is vikarma, karma and akarma, right? So most people are not ready for the akarma. But after they've suffered a lot, the vikarma, after getting a lot of punishment, then they start to think, maybe I should do some good activities. And they're a bit more ready for karma, to do activities according to the scriptures. So the Vedas are there. They offer the results of pious activities. You can go to the higher planets. You can enjoy sense gratification on a higher level, much greater than on this planet. So people are attracted. So they come out of the sense gratification and become interested in coming to the transcendental plane from Bhagavad Gita. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of Upanishads. Upanishads mark the beginning of transcendental life. So Karma Kanda is not transcendental, right? You studied the yoga ladder. Karma Kanda was way at the bottom of the yoga ladder. Material activity. But they're enjoying. They're getting sense gratification. And they're doing it according to the Vedas. But they know it's temporary. Because you cannot enjoy this sense gratification forever. So when they're finished, when they become disappointed, fed up with Karma Kanda activities, then they can move on to the Upanishads, the beginning of transcendental life. Something higher, just above the Karma Kanda activities. So that brings us to the Vedas here. All of these different Vedic books are there. The Upanishads, the beginning of transcendental knowledge.
These Upanishads, Maharaj, are in Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga?
Ishopanishad is in Bhakti Yoga.
The other one?
Huh?
The other one?
Other one? Other what?
Upanishad.
Other Upanishads? Well, it's going to depend on the commentary. Whose commentary you're going to read. Just like Bhagavad Gita. Now, is Bhagavad Gita Bhakti Yoga? We would say it's Bhakti Yoga. But if you read Shankaracharya's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, if you read some Mayavadi, it's something else. Depending on what their tendency is, they will put their interpretation into the text. So we say Ishopanishad is certainly speaking about Bhakti Yoga. Not speaking about Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, but it's really talking about, there's really Bhakti there. There's a lot of Bhakti there. You will see when we look at the verses, they're speaking about the personality, and we have to recognize that personality. We have to work there. Just like within Bhagavad Gita, there's Karma Yoga, there's Jnana Yoga, there's also Bhakti Yoga. So within also Upanishad, within Ishopanishad, there is some, you could say it's Jnana Yoga, there's a lot of knowledge there. It's also telling us how to work, so that's Karma Yoga. But ultimately, we're stressing the devotional path. We want to understand there's a Supreme, and we have a relationship with that Supreme Person. That is the idea of the Upanishad. We want to that it's the beginning of cultivating this relationship with the Supreme. It doesn't speak directly about Krishna. You'll see in the whole text, the Ishopanishad doesn't mention the Mahamantra one time. No mention of the Mahamantra. No mention about these things. But it's introducing us to it, you know. The beginning, you know, it's opening the door. We want to become drawn in, get attracted, that there is something there, something to be understood. So for people, particularly who are jnanis, who are philosophical speculators, and who are inclined to understand the Vedas, then they can be attracted to Ishopanishad. Let them read the commentary by our founder Acharya, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Let them read his commentary on Ishopanishad and let them be changed. Just like Einstein. Now, Einstein had said he didn't believe in a personal God. But he read the Vedas. He was interested in the Vedas and he liked the idea of Brahman. He was interested in that. But he didn't believe in a personal God. He said, I want to make that clear. I don't believe in any personal God. But he didn't believe in any God as the materialists describe God, because they give some mundane interpretation of what God is like, how God is according to their ideas. They don't have a transcendental understanding of the actual nature of the Supreme Lord. So Einstein, he didn't hear about the transcendental nature of God. He only heard about the mundane aspect of God, somebody who is, you know, if you do good, you please him, and if you do bad, he punishes you. And, you know, he only heard about the limited thinking about God as ordinary people could understand him with their limited mind and senses. So he said, I don't believe in that kind of God. So for somebody like him, then Ishopanishad would be good, that they could understand more, a higher aspect of the Supreme. The Ishopanishad makes the idea of God as a person more accessible to people who are speculators, who's often bewildered by mundane knowledge. The Ishopanishad is helpful for them. Other Upanishads may not be so useful. What is in the other Upanishads? Generally, they're just giving some stories, some presentations. The Ishopanishad is what is really accepted by the acharyas and commented on. So, Prasthana Traya. The Vedanta Sutra is known as Nyaya Prasthana. The Upanishads are Shruti Prasthana. And the Gita, Mahabharata and Puranas are known as Smriti Prasthana. Prasthana, evidence. So 3 kinds of evidence. Nyaya, meaning logic. Vedanta Sutra is presenting the logic aspect. The Upanishads is from the Shruti, from the original Vedas. And the Gita, Mahabharata and Puranas are the Smriti. We should appreciate the difference. So sometimes Prabhupada would talk according to logic. He would argue on the basis of Nyaya. Other times he would use Smriti, and sometimes he could also use Shruti. You have to be able to know when to quote and how to argue. Some people won't accept any scripture, so then you just use logic. Just like Prabhupada was arguing with one guy, and Prabhupada was quoting, and they said, no, I don't accept scripture. So then Prabhupada would give logic, and he said, no, I don't accept your logic. And so then Prabhupada said, I give you scripture, I give you logic, I don't accept. He said, I say Krishna's God, accept. You don't accept logic, you don't accept scripture, just take me, just accept my word for it. I'm telling you Krishna's God, accept. And so you can argue sometimes like that. Some people, you just have to, use whatever way you can to present Krishna consciousness. Mayavadi philosophers accept only Nyaya Prasthana and Shruti Prasthana, rejecting the Smriti. So this is what we're talking about. This is why Prabhupada wrote this book, Ishopanishad, for such people who are not going to accept the Smriti. They don't accept Bhagavad Gita, they don't accept the Puranas. So, okay. So here's Ishopanishad. Ishopanishad talks about God. You say, oh, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says is God. You say, I don't accept Bhagavad Gita. So then, okay, here's Ishopanishad. And Ishopanishad, it talks about the Supreme. So we want to make you aware of how to use this Ishopanishad in our preaching work. Prabhupada says this Krishna consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. Yeah, we are following these Vedic principles. Sometimes people argue, oh, this Hare Krishna movement, some modern thing. So it's all modern, all new. No, everything we do is authorized according to the Vedic principles. We don't concoct anything. Everything is taken from the authorized scripture. I was hearing one devotee, he was telling Prabhupada was teaching them to chant Nrsimha mantra, Namaste Nrsimhaya, and then they have Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish. So there was one Indian lady, and when Prabhupada taught the devotees to say Jai Jagadish Hare, she would say Om Jai Jagadish Hare. So Prabhupada immediately heard this and said, who's that? Why are you doing that? Prabhupada immediately corrected her. He said, don't concoct. He said, just Jai Jagadish Hare, not Om Jai Jagadish Hare. So Prabhupada was following the Vedic principles. In the Dasa Avatar Stotra, it just says Jai Jagadish Hare. It doesn't say Om Jai Jagadish Hare. We're not some Hindu hodgepodge, khichdi, It's following the Vedic principles. Everything is authorized. So we like to show people our authority. We can prove our authority if they want. Everything is there. Okay, so we had a look at the Vedic literature and the Upanishads, the position of the Upanishads. We said the original one Veda was divided into four, and each of the four Vedas, within each of the four Vedas, there are corollaries called Brahmanyas, Aranyakas, and also Upanishads. And this Ishopanishad is from the Yajurveda, and it is the last chapter of the Shukla Yajurveda. So it's a Vedic text. It's part of the Shruti scriptures. And why Prabhupada published Sri Ishopanishad? Can somebody tell me? Has somebody understood? You grasp why we studied why Prabhupada published?
For those who don't accept Bhagavad Gita or other Shruti literature.
Yes, right. For people, we just showed, quote, Mayavadis, they won't accept this Smriti. So we have to have some literature from the Shruti. What was another verse from the Shruti that we can use to preach to such people? Yes, right. Yes. This is good preaching. You meet these kind of people, you can quote this kind of verse. This is a Vedic mantra. And three types of evidence. The four defects of the conditioned soul, all elementary preaching. Reasons for accepting Vedic authority. Apurusha, not coming from any ordinary person. Yeah, the Vedic knowledge. No one can find any defects. Give some example. No defect in the Vedic literature. What's a good example? Yes, very good. What does it say?
Veda says
Vedas say that cow dung is pure, and it is spoke by the scientific.
Yeah. So the stool of a Brahmana is more pure, right? That will be speculation. If we say cow dung is pure, so if the cow dung is pure, then the Brahmana stool must be more pure. This is speculation. But if we take the Vedic knowledge, the Vedas doesn't say the stool of the Brahmana is more pure. No, it says the cow dung is pure. What's the other example? The conch shell. Conch shell is what? Bones, right? Yeah, we're not supposed to bring bones in the temple room, but the conch shell is pure. We can keep the conch shell. So there's two systems of knowledge. One is ascending and the other is descending. Right? Ascending knowledge. The example is given, I see a white swan. I see 10 white swans. I see 100 white swans. I see 1,000 white swans. So we conclude all swans are white. And then you go to Australia and you suddenly see a black swan. What happened? I saw 1,000 white swans and then all of a sudden along comes a black swan. So this is the problem with the ascending process, that it will always be incomplete, imperfect. That you cannot make a study of every man, but if we take knowledge coming down from the perfect source, then that is perfect. And we give the example, the child can know about the father can know about the father from the mother. We spoke also about Guru Bhakti in public forums, that we do want to be sensitive to other people's spiritual masters, and we want to see everyone and see the spiritual master as representative of Krishna, and recognize also the qualification of the spiritual master, and not just speak about our own sentimental opinions of the spiritual master. Okay, so that's the first lesson. Any question? Any other trouble?
Maharaj, you mentioned about the imperfect senses and also about the disciplic succession. I just had the disciplic succession in Bhagavad Gita introduction. I'm just going through that. It says Krishna, Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva, and then there's a list. Up to Madhvacharya, we know they are incarnations of the Lord. I'm not sure after that the personalities who receive the knowledge, they also would have had imperfect senses when they received them. How do I understand that they got the knowledge, became perfect, and then they passed it on? Or how does it work? Can you please explain that?
Well, we understand that they're connected in that disciplic succession, that they've received that knowledge from their spiritual master, and as a result of receiving that knowledge from the spiritual master, they have assimilated that knowledge and they've passed it on. They've taken on that work of their spiritual master to continue to perpetuate that knowledge by writing scriptures or by preaching and distributing the message to others. So this is the system of disciplic succession. Whether they were born with that knowledge or whether they had it before or not, that's not important. We give the example. One may be born a rich man and somebody else becomes a rich man. Does it make a difference? Somebody's born rich, he's born in a rich family, inherits the father's money, and somebody else, he makes a lot of money, maybe he's born poor, but he becomes rich in his life, he gets a lot of money. So they're both rich men. We don't make a distinction between one man and the other. Just because somebody's born with wealth doesn't mean he's better than somebody else who had the art of acquiring wealth. So in the same way, somebody may be born perfectly, they may be, by birth they're very fortunate, they've taken birth in a very good family and they have all the good samskar, and somebody else comes from a fallen background, but they become initiated, they become perfect in their Krishna conscious practice. So we don't distinguish. And rather, it's considered offensive if we minimize someone's position because of his birth or because of his past activities. So what's important is their actual position. And that after becoming a devotee and taking up the practice, that's important. So their position as spiritual masters is recognized like that. I think after Madhvacharya, the list is taken all from the line, from Madhva's own line in Udupi. These are the prominent acharyas. Up until Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took initiation from Ishwarapuri. And before that there was Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri initiated Advaita and Nityananda. Madhavendra Puri was even more advanced, even you could say, than Madhva. Because Madhavendra Puri, he was the one who established the seed of love of God in the Sampradaya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took initiation in that Sampradaya because of Madhavendra Puri, not so much just because of Madhava, but Madhavendra Puri was his teaching, his devotion, which inspired Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take initiation. So sometimes the disciples may be more advanced than the spiritual masters. It's quite possible that the disciples are much more advanced even than sometimes the spiritual master. But it doesn't minimize the relationship. The disciple shouldn't think that he's more advanced, but he will continue to respect his spiritual master, even though he's more advanced.
So is it safe to conclude that if you accept the disciple succession, then the 4 defects will be eradicated and you will be able to take the message and pass it on? Is that the safe conclusion?
Well, certainly if we take initiation and we take up the process of devotional service, these 4 defects, they should be practically eradicated if we keep ourselves strong in our practice of Krishna consciousness. Making mistakes, some mistake may be there, but that will, what kind of mistake? What, we eat meat instead of prasadam? No, not that kind of mistake. Maybe, you mistake a verse or something, I got the wrong verse or something, or some point, is mixed up. Maybe some mistake there, slight inaccuracies may be there. And sometimes Prabhupada would say something, sometimes it would be, you get the verse wrong or say something, out of place that wasn't. But, not a big issue. Nothing to cause the disciple to lose faith. Yeah, we have to be tolerant about these things. Being perfect means that we know Krishna. Doesn't mean that you can't make a little mistake somewhere, forget where you put something or yeah.
When I was in Bhakta, we used to read Ishopanishad in the morning, but later we are changed to read Brahma Samhita. Why is the difference between Brahma Samhita and Ishopanishad?
Oh well, Brahma Samhita is a much more elevated book. Brahma Samhita, you're on a much higher. It's Brahma Samhita is like Srimad Bhagavatam almost. Lord Chaitanya brought copies of the Brahma Samhita from South India, he had when he was traveling in South India, he found that he heard the texts of the Brahma Samhita, and he had the book copied, and he brought copies and he gave it to his disciples in Jagannath Puri. So Lord Chaitanya appreciated very much this book Brahma Samhita, that it had all the main points of the Srimad Bhagavatam were there within the Brahma Samhita. So he had a great appreciation that this Brahma Samhita is a very, very important book. But Ishopanishad, we're saying this is for the beginning of transcendence, for people just coming out of the path of karma kanda, who are just coming up to transcendence, the beginning stage. It's not speaking so much directly about the Lord. You know, Brahma Samhita is describing Krishna playing on the flute with peacock feathers and the gopis and, you know, his abode in Vrindavan and all of these things. Ishopanishad is just speaking, you know, there's a supreme, there's a person, you know. It's, you know, and some riddles we will be hearing, you know, different ways of describing this supreme way, and so that we can know him as being inconceivable, beyond the senses. It's on a different level, really. The Ishopanishad is like a preliminary study, you see. It's like the ABC. The Brahma Samhita, that's way up, that's a higher level. But still, you know, we have to be familiar. We should know the text, and we should know how to use it, because not everybody is able to appreciate Brahma Samhita. You know, there are some people, they'll laugh at you if you start to say God is a little cowherd boy who plays a flute with a peacock feather and he dances with the gopis. They say, what kind of madman are you? Telling us God is like this, you know, you're crazy. You know, but if you read Ishopanishad, it talks about the Supreme Person in a very different way. That he's perfect and complete. We have to appreciate not everyone has the same abilities of understanding. Not everyone is ready for the path of bhakti immediately to take on full-fledged bhakti. So they have to hear about the Lord in these indirect ways. And in this way they develop more faith. They're ready to understand. Yeah?
All the Shrutis been written by Vedas?
Yeah, that's the understanding that everything, well, was spoken by Vyasa and written by Ganesh.
And the fact that Vyasa also wrote the Bhagavad Gita, the main Bhagavad Gita also, you know, authorized, and you can say to these people who don't accept Smriti, you can say, well, Bhagavad Gita is also written by Vedas.
Yeah, the thing is that the Vedas is eternal knowledge. Although we can't say that Vyasa is the author of the, although it's, you know, Bhagavad Gita, it says, by all the Vedas I am to be known, I am the author and I am the compiler of the Vedas. So Vyasa is the author of the Vedas, but at the same time, you know, what did he do? You know, he just spoke it. And the Vedas, it was passed on. It's not like it was his work. The Vedas, they're the same. That what was spoken to Brahma, that was passed on. The same sounds were passed on, and Vyasa just passed on. He spoke those sounds, and Ganesh wrote them down. But the Puranas, the Smriti, they can change. They can be changed in time, because the Smritis are coming from the sages, and the sages are going to write them in such a way to make it easy for the people to understand. But the Shruti, that's never changed. That's just, you know, the same words, the same, everything is just passed down. The different Vedic mantras, they're just chanted and repeated. They're not edited, they're not changed. But the Smriti can be changed.
But the fact is still that, if I'm a respectable person, and I write down Shrutis and I write down the Smritis as well. Why won't you accept one thing from me and not accept the other thing from me? Define the respect for it.
Well, for one point is that you see he himself authored this Smriti, but the Shruti is just what's, you heard it, you're just passing it on. But the Smriti is actually coming, he's composing it. Vyas.
But Bhagavad Gita is also spoken by Krishna.
Yeah.
So Jesus rewrites it.
Yeah, but see, not everybody is going to accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Right? These people who accept the Vedas, who follow the Shruti, they won't accept Krishna as God. They don't have that same vision that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Often the people who accept the Vedas, they're often jnanis, they think ultimately the Supreme is without form, without personality, because that's the general tendency, that's what you get more in the Vedas. It speaks more about the impersonal, or about karma kanda activities, also material activity. It doesn't speak about God. It doesn't speak about Krishna. So Vyasa is just writing. He's just writing down. He didn't really do anything with the Shruti. He had it written down. He had it divided into 4. He gave it to the disciples, but it wasn't his work. It was the eternal knowledge which was passed on to him. But the Smriti, like the Puranas, Vyasa wrote these. He's the actual, he authored them. He writes them. We know he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. After he got instruction from Narada, he had to modify it. He had to glorify Krishna, right? So this is coming from Vyasa, from him. And the Vedas is different. It's eternal. The eternal message, the eternal mantras, the same sounds, they're being repeated. So that's why people they will accept the Vedas, but they won't necessarily accept Bhagavad Gita or Puranas. They won't accept that Vyasa is Apurusha. See, the Vedas is Apurusha.
Is the Mahamantra part of Shruti or something?
Mahamantra is in the Kali Santara Upanishad. Kali Santara Upanishad, yeah. So it's Vedic. Bhanu Swami was telling me, he was in Tirupati one time, and he said some brahmanas came up to him and they asked him, what mantra are you chanting? And he said, I chant Hare Krishna mantra. And the brahmana said, oh, Hare Krishna, that's a Vedic mantra. Yeah, Kali Santara Upanishad. Yeah. Vedic. They accept it. Iti sodashakam namnam kaliko masha nashanam matapara taropaya sarva vedishu drishyate Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare. In the Vedic mantras, Rama comes before Krishna. But when Lord Chaitanya was getting everybody to chant Hare Krishna, the brahmanas complained that how can you get everybody to chant Vedic mantras? Vedic mantras are only for the brahmanas. Brahmanas should give the Vedic mantras. You're giving this mantra to everyone. So Lord Chaitanya changed the mantra. He put Krishna before Rama. He made it Hare Krishna, and afterwards chant Hare Rama. He said, now it's not Vedic, now everybody can chant. Yeah? Okay, so we will stop. Tomorrow we can continue. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.